it's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my top 22 of most disappointing books. What? My top... I can't do it. I can't do it. You gotta go in there.
Seriously?
This is gonna be my most disappointing books of 2022. Alright, first of all, we're addressing the elephant in the room. Yes, my hair's orange now, okay? It happened yesterday. Yay! In the background. It was kind of spontaneous, well, it was definitely spontaneous because I wanted it to be like platinum blonde the way it was last year, but my hair was too dark. So I was just like, I trust you, pick a color. So this is what happened.
Oh,
and
so good.
I feel like Hayley Williams.
Yep.
Circa now. Her hair.
So she had orange hair for a long time.
Okay. And I'm also wearing my disappointed crew neck. I searched high and low through my 10 bags of laundry for this crew neck just for this video. This is one of my favorite videos to film and watch, so I'm excited. I don't know how well this is gonna go because Joey is behind the freaking camera.
Hi.
And I'm gonna try to focus as much as I can. I have 22 books on this list. I had like 20 and then I was like, I think I could push to 2 because, you know, to make it 22 most disappointing books in 2022. That's how many, because this year was nothing but disappointment.
All of it? Wow.
I'm just kidding. I was just trying to get a reaction from him. But I definitely did really have quite a lot of disappointment in terms of reading for this year, and a lot of them were on my most highly anticipated list for this year, which is very upsetting. I don't have an order for these books. Like, it's not ranked or anything. I just have my number 1, which I guess I'll save for the end because that was a mistake I made last year and Joey pointed that out, so because he loves to point out my flaws.
No, it's your mistakes. Hi, I'm Joey.
What else was there? Oh, I was gonna do the little classic disclaimer for these videos. If you love any of these books, these are just my opinions, okay? Nothing against you, nothing against you as a reader, as a person. A lot of these books I didn't think were like bad. Some of them are bad, but like most of them are just like, I had high expectations and it let me down. Again, if you loved it, nothing against you. And also nothing against the authors. Anyway, let's go, I'm sweating. They're on my phone, so I'm just gonna go from bottom up, even though they're not in any order. I have some of these books still. I'm definitely gonna sell some of them, so if you're interested in any of them, I'm definitely gonna sell some of them, so if you're interested in any of these, my Pango is linked down below. Some of these were my book club picks, so I'm keeping them solely for the end of the year recap for my 2022 book club picks. So anyway, first one. This is so depressing because Woman Eating by Claire Coda. This has sentimental value to me, so I'm not even gonna get rid of this because it was my first giveaway that I hosted and I was working with freaking HarperCollins. Harper fucking Collins. Are you kidding? I was so excited because it's a vampire gothic story about this girl. So it's like literary fiction, but make it vampires. It's like 2 of my favorite things in the fucking world and it just let me down. There was this one scene, I think I gave, damn, I don't have my star ratings for all these. I think I gave this 2 stars though, I'm pretty sure. There was this one scene that involved a duck, if you know, you know. That was pretty cool. Otherwise, I was just kind of bored and I thought it was gonna be like vampire going through daily modern life and it being like a little bit humorous with like dry humor, you know, and like also fucking shit up with her vampiric powers. But that is not what happened. It was about her sick mother and her dealing with it, and then she still needed blood from things. Those scenes were so brief. It was just so not what I wanted. If you go into it knowing all that, then yeah, you might like it, but I was just highly disappointed. Like, look at this cover. I also did like recreated this cover. I'll try to insert the picture here if I find it. If not, editing Jan edit that out. It was super short, but it took me a few days to freaking read. Next, I have The Beast by Katy Robert. Okay, this is part, oh no, I'm not wearing rings. That's annoying. This is the 4th book in the Wicked Villains series. It's like Disney, but make it smut. My favorite one was the 3rd one, A Worthy Opponent. And I was so stoked for this because this is the Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Beauty and the Beast is like my favorite Disney movie aside from Lilo and Stitch. So I was so excited. This would have been okay if the 2nd one in the series weren't pretty much the same exact plot. The point of this series is mostly smut, right? But then she has this like rushed action scene at the end of every book, which is fine because that's not the point of the series. But this one, like, where was it? It was just Belle trying to make a fucking decision. Belle, Isabel, whatever the fuck her name is in this retelling. A decision between these 2 guys. So it was this 270-page fucking love triangle where this girl couldn't make a fucking choice, and the ending was pretty much the same as the 2nd one. And I was like, why did I just read the same book again? I was so upset. I was doing so well reading one book a month from this series, and then this just like killed that streak. The next one, oh, Joey's gonna have some commentary on this one. Daphne!
Oh God, fuck that book.
Daphne by Josh Malerman. This was a buddy read with Joey. I'll link that vlog down below. I wanted to buddy read it because Gabby from Gabby Reads read it, and I don't remember if she teared up a little or whatever, but she said the anxiety rep was really good. I was like, okay, a horror with anxiety rep. Like, we can both relate. So yeah, I pitched it to Joey and he was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Plot twist, he DNF'd it.
What a letdown.
First and foremost, it was one big long chapter throughout the whole thing. There were like page breaks, but like barely. So it's about this tall woman, this extremely tall woman who wore a jean jacket. Josh Malerman really wanted you to know that she wore a jean jacket.
Metalhead.
And that she loved metal music.
Which made her satanic, apparently.
Which made her satanic. Did her makeup like the band Kiss. So that was the gist of that. And then this basketball team, this high school basketball team.
The Ballers.
The Ballers are like being haunted by Daphne, right? Because she appears whenever you like think about her, and it's supposed to be like a metaphor for anxiety. So I was like, cool, sick, you know? That's a cool little analogy, whatever. But no, it was just so redundant. I'm sweating so hard, right? It's actually disgusting. The twist, I couldn't even remember the twist to spoil it for Joey when he DNF'd because it was that forgettable. I think I gave it 2 stars. Wait, hold on. I think I gave this one 2 stars too. No, I gave Daphne 3 stars, I think.
Really?
A low 3 because she called her panic attacks panic attacula, which I really thought was cute. And like the ending was pretty intense. It was pretty fast paced. Oh, cause some of the scenes creeped me out because there was like a bathroom scene. That's why I gave it a 3, because like I actually like felt kind of scared at some point, but it was still very disappointing because I thought it was gonna be like 5 stars. Oh my god, amazing. I want to read Bird Box now, but no, I don't. I don't know if I'm gonna read any other Josh Malerman. Not gonna lie. Before I move on, do you have anything to add, sir?
Don't read it.
So glad I didn't purchase it either. I read it from the library. Next book I want to talk about is on a lot of people's most disappointing of the year. I listened to it on audio. It's called 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. Alright, so I read this for Gabby, again, her book troop book club pick. I forgot which month it was, whatever. I read it on audio. It's an And Then There Were None retelling, you know, Agatha Christie. So I was like, okay, I love that book. Like, what is he gonna do differently? Nothing is the fucking answer, okay? He just made it so bad. So basically, there are 9 strangers who are on this list, and then they die one by one. The fucking motive at the end, the motive of the killer, I had to look up on Google before I added it to this list, what the motive was and what actually happened, because I forgot, because it was just not... Oh, it pissed me off so badly. And like hearing other people be pissed about it just makes me piss off again. The audio was so bad, it was so monotonous, and it was so annoying. And why were there so many stupid characters that were irrelevant? Like added nothing to the fucking story. And then there were characters who had kind of the same name, and then there was a reason for it, but the reason was fucking stupid. Oh, and then the killer, when you find out the killer and why and what, oh lord, don't read it. Do not read it. The only other Peter Swanson book I read was Every Vow You Break. Yes, that was stupid too, but I had a fun time with that one at least. This one, I think I gave it 1 star. I should really pull it up on Goodreads. Let me see. It had to be 1 star. There's no way it wasn't. Yep, I gave it 1 star. Unbelievably boring ass snooze fest. Audiobook narration is awful. This is a try-hard retelling of And Then There Were None, and it was done terribly. Read the classic instead and skip this one forever, please, thanks. There you have it, folks. She has spoken. All right, next. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. The next one is Small Angels. Oh my fucking god. Do not get me started. I can't even link the vlog down below because it's Patreon only. By the way, I have a Patreon now. Those links are down below. We're called The Lair. We're vampire themed. It's a good time over there. We have a Discord. We talk about more than just books. We talk about life, Taylor Swift, caffeine, spooky things, all the good stuff. Anyway, Small Angels by Lauren Owen. This was my November book club pick. I gave it 2 stars and it took me fucking forever to read. Literally over a week I was reading this goddamn book. I was so excited for it. It's pitched as gothic horror. There are ghosts and stuff, and like these woods are supposed to be like super creepy the way I'm sitting right now. Y'all can't see how I'm sitting right now, but I feel like a fucking toddler. The woods are creepy and they're supposed to be like listening to these people's stories and like whispering and giving their 2 cents to these like small town legends and whatever else. And there's like this ghost, but the way it was executed was just so, I don't even know how to explain it. I was just so bored and confused. I don't even know how old these people were. Like some parts they felt 30 years old and then some parts they felt 16. So I don't know. So there were these sisters and friends who who are going to this wedding, and the only parts I liked about this book were there were some notable quotes about like relationships and stuff, because obviously it's a wedding and there were 2 relationships going on. There was also a sapphic relationship that was pretty cute, but like the paranormal parts, Kitty said it well. Kitty was my guest host, Kitty from Spicy Cats Reads here on YouTube. She was like, the ghosts were almost not even ghosts, because the way they were able to act and like the power that they had basically made them human. So yeah, anyway, I have my spoiler filled vlog. I do spoiler filled vlogs now for my book club picks, and it's actually pretty fun. So I talk about this one specific scene with the dog, and that part was intense, but I think that was the only part that I was kind of like reacting to in any way, shape, or form. Positively, somewhat positively, because the rest of it was, I'm getting rid of this book, so if you're interested. Next, oh my god, stop. This is gonna piss me off too. All right. If this book weren't so fucking pretty. Belladonna by Adelaide Grace. Okay, can we just, we're gonna take a moment before we bash this book to shreds. Look how gorgeous. Just look at it. Look at it. Too bad that is where the beauty of this book ends. I'm so glad he thinks I'm funny. Like, this was recommended to me by Cami from Burrows and Books, because she was like, the writing is so good and everything, and like nothing against her, obviously. Like, she's usually really good at knowing my taste. She's like, you might love the writing. She wasn't like sure, but then I heard that it's about a girl who couldn't die, and then there was a perspective from Death himself personified, and then she like falls for him and shit, and it's this like YA gothic fantasy. Yes, it had like atmospheric writing and everything. I know there was this like ball, so it was like that type of vibe, you know, like rich people vibe where there's like inheritances and shit. And I found that I don't like that trope, the inheritance trope. That's why I hated the inheritance games. All those like fighting for estates and assets and shit. Like, I don't give a shit. I like people who struggle, like me. I'm not reading the sequel. I'm not reading the sequel. I don't want to get rid of this book because it's so pretty, but like I can't even stand to look at it. I hide it in my shelves. Like So, okay, she has this power to like summon death, because belladonna is this like poisonous flower or berry, and she just like summons him when he appears, and then they build a relationship. And then there's this murder mystery that takes over the whole thing, but like I don't give a shit about the murder mystery. I wanted the romance, okay? I came here for romance. Like, look at this book. It screams romance, right? It's all this fucking murder, and it was so redundant. Every chapter, she just like grabs these fucking flowers, and it's the same thing. It was like the circle of fucking life, but with death.
My god.
That's not what I expected to come out of my mouth.
That's good.
That wasn't even that funny. I'm gonna move on. Okay, this one, I was just ranting to Joey about it because it was also on Sid from Sid Bookworm's Most Disappointing of the Year. Comfort Me with Apples by I don't give a fuck. So it's like, so it's this like 100-page book, right? Literally read it in one sitting. I'm still regretting that like hour of my life reading that book in one sitting. Like, I could have been doing anything else. Instead, I was being disappointed by this book, like thoroughly. I woke up early to finish this book, but this is horror, and it's like is it dystopian? What's the difference between dystopia and utopia? I looked it up like not too long ago and I keep forgetting.
Dystopia is like,
it's like government.
End of the world type shit.
And utopia is like the perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a utopia because it gives you the illusion, like the eeriness of like everything is like pristine and perfect and just nothing could go wrong in this secluded place. I'm trying not to spoil it because it's really hard because it's so short, so like anything could be a spoiler, right? Basically, the thing that pissed me off about this book is the twist. It's a trope that I'm not a fan of if done in this way. It was not what I was expecting, and it wasn't in a good way. I just don't know. I don't know, but I don't like it. I mean, if you still want to try it, it's literally 100 pages, so it won't take too long, but you still might regret everything after you read it, like me. I was really, really disappointed by The Undead Truth of Us by Brittany S. Lewis. Jesse gave me this copy. I heard about this book like end of last year, and I saw the cover, and I was like, are you fucking kidding? It's gorgeous. Sunflowers, my favorite flower of all time. Starry Night, my favorite painting of all time. It was pitched to me as a zombie book, okay? So that's what I was expecting. Zombies coming out of nowhere, but then this girl who's like obsessed with all these artsy things, and it was supposed to be a cute little balance, right? No, it was just cute, and it was annoying. I gave it 3 stars, I think, because she had significant character growth by the end, and she had like powerful scenes because she has like family trauma and things like that. But the romance was just way too prominent for my liking. Like, I didn't come here for a romance, okay? Right before I read this book, someone commented on one of my live shows that the zombies are metaphorical. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? I wanted brain eating and shit. But instead I got John Green quotes and a YA romance. There were some like depressing parts and she talks a lot about grief and everything because, I don't know, is that a spoiler? Hold on. Okay, her mother died. It's in the synopsis. So she's like dealing with grief and this romance. See, that's misleading. It was just misleading. That is the word for this book. Especially because in the beginning, she immediately goes into like, oh, I listened to The Used and I love John Green and Starry Night and fucking all this shit that I love too. And I was like, okay, perfect. Love it. Love it already. Love it all. And then it just was boring and very juvenile. For what it is, it's not a bad book. It's not. You just have to go into it knowing it's not a zombie book, like an actual zombie book. The chapters were really short though, so it went pretty quickly. But yeah, I was really sad about that one. Oh, next one I already mentioned. The Inheritance Games by Kelly. No, I don't know. I don't care. It's very popular. I'm sure you've heard of it. So I was finally like, okay, the audiobook's available on Libby. Let me just, you know? I was like, okay, let me see what the hype is about because everyone loves this book and I heard it goes by really quickly and it's like super fast paced and there's this like competition. It's like Hunger Games meets something. I don't know why that even got me because I've never read the Hunger Games, but everyone was just like raving about this fucking book, this whole series, and I gave it 1 star because I didn't give a shit about any of these brothers. Why were there so many brothers? Every page there was a new fucking character that I had to keep track of, but I didn't even care because there were all these rich bitches trying to get this inheritance. Like, why is that your sole fucking purpose in life? Get a hobby. Oh, The Hunger Games meets Knives Out. I almost said Knocked Loose. That's a band.
That's a band.
And I like that movie. So it was supposed to be like this eccentric family who just wants this inheritance. It was supposed to be like a mystery type thing where there were clues dropped. It was supposed to be a page turner. On top of it all, and the narrator was awful. And needless to say, I'm not going to continue with this series. I don't understand the hype. I don't get it. Why do you all like this book? Why? Why is it so popular? I don't get it. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, is that the author? I don't even know. Hold on, that just came to me. Wow, look at me go. It's another book club pick. It was so bad that I didn't even care that we weren't gonna do a live show for it. Like, I didn't even bother rescheduling. Like, I was just so over it. But it was also a really rough month. It's my August book club pick, but the live show was supposed to be in September, but that was the month that my dog and grandpa passed away, and then my guest, Sid, got COVID. So it was just a shit show, and I was just like, it's not even worth the stress, right? A Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill. Cover, beautiful, awesome. Love it. Would frame it and hang it on my wall. The inside is just, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened. It's like 2 stars. Everything felt like a fever dream. Yeah, it was definitely a cover. Well, someone got this for me. I think it was Kasey. Yeah, from Bookish Brew on Instagram. I'm sorry, Kasey. I still read it all the way through, no matter how much I wanted to DNF. And like, I don't know why I tabbed this much. Like, what the fuck was I tabbing? It's supposed to be about this family who are all monsters, but they all like approach it in a different way. Like, some of them are really proud of it. Some of them don't talk about it at all. Some of them try to hide it and it's like a secret to everyone they know. Blah, 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 blah. Oh wait, no, they're not monsters. They see monsters. I'm sorry. The main character, Noah Turner, doesn't show up until like, what was it, like 80 pages in or something? Like, he wasn't even born for the first 80 pages of the book. And I was like, what am I reading right now? The timelines were all screwed up. There were all these like, what were these? Like manuscripts? I don't even know. There were like parts with like in typewriter font. And I just didn't like how it was formatted, how it was laid out, how the story was executed, though I don't even remember what the story was. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm getting rid of that too. Oh no, I can't. It's a gift. I'm not getting rid of that because it's a gift. But at least the cover's pretty. The next one, LOL, another fucking book club pick. I think this was my, I want to say it was my April one. I don't know. Magic Steeped in Poison by Jodie Eilen. Woo. I was so excited for this. This was not my most highly anticipated of 2022. I think this was like one of my top 3 or something. So this is about this girl who accidentally poisons her mom and her sister. She's like really good at making tea. She accidentally poisons them and then she enters this magical tea competition. Competition books are not my thing either, I've come to realize. Except A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. That one was a good one. I say that all the time as a little disclaimer. She enters this magic tea competition to find a cure for her sister. And then there's a stupid unnecessary romance just thrown in there because it just felt the need to be present. This vlog is still on YouTube. This was before my Patreon, so I'll link that down below. But Tammy from Tammy Tries to Read was my guest for this month, and we had a really good discussion about it and all the things. She didn't really like it either. There was this like betrayal. The betrayal was all right. Okay, it was all right. I think I gave this 2 stars. I remember being like, okay, this is getting kind of good. Things are happening. But then the romance was like the chapter right after that, and I was like, this is dumb. And the ending, granted it was a duology like already planned and everything. Like the second book came out a few months after this one came out, but will I be reading it? Probably not. This cover is so gorgeous though, and the end papers. And I was just so excited for it. I was so mad that it was like, look at this pink, how cute. I was just so mad that it wasn't done well, and it was boring, and it was very YA, and I was just not intrigued in any way, shape, or form. The culture that's like interweaved within it, I think was pretty good. I forgot what Tammy said about it, but yeah, it's like Chinese and Taiwanese mythology. I don't remember if she said she liked it or hated it. I can't for the life of me remember shit about it. Next one is a romance. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This one I was super excited for because look at that cover. Look at the woman who has all those tattoos and her fucking style, and then the juxtaposition between her and the girl next to her, the pretty floral dress and shit. Is it floral? I don't know. I'm not looking at the cover right now, but y'all are. I don't remember why I didn't like this book. I think my expectations were just so high. I think people were pitching it as like super steamy and blah blah blah, and I was like, huh? There were like 2 steamy scenes, and then there was this whole portion of the book about this woman's kid. Okay, so basically there's this photographer who had to go back to her hometown to photograph, is it her best friend's wedding or her sister's wedding? I think it was her sister. And then she reconnects with someone who I think they went to high school together. I might be getting that mixed up with Count Your Lucky Stars. Either way, they eventually get together. The woman has a kid, like already, and there's this big portion about this kid, and like, why? I think that was my main gripe about it, is that there was so much about this kid that I didn't give a shit about. I think I had such high expectations for, what the fuck's her name? I don't know, the one with the tattoos. I had such high expectations for her character. I don't know, if you want this, but you're like iffy about it, read Count Your Lucky Stars instead. Is it Count Your Lucky Stars? Yeah, by Aleksandra Belfleur. Read that one instead. It's a better sapphic romance in my opinion. Next one, I read this in January, I think, so bear with me, but A History of Wild Places by Shea Earnshaw. Oh, I gave this book 3 stars. I need notes for this shit. Can y'all tell I don't plan my videos out like that? Like, I know I had so many thoughts about this, especially the end. So Shea Earnshaw, is this my first book by her? I think so. And I heard her writing is like super atmospheric and everything. This was marketed as a cult book. It's about this author. I think she was a children's book author. I think she got killed. Then there was this village or whatever, and they couldn't leave because there's this disease if you make it past the trees or whatever. I don't know. There was like a murder mystery and like a culty type of thing, but it wasn't the vibes that I felt like I was promised. I remember the end vaguely, and I remember being slightly shook. And then I also remember predicting one big part of it too. It took me forever to read. I think I soft DNF'd it for a while, and then I picked it back up. I didn't feel connected to the characters at all. I was just kind of going through the motions with this one. That was really sad because I think this was on my most highly anticipated of 2022 as well. But like, look at this cover. It's so like eerie. I usually love cult books, and this was just disappointing. This video is exhausting. There's too much anger in me for the little person that I am. The next book I already got rid of. It's The Grimrose Girls by Laura Pohl. For this one, I think I will still read the sequel. I don't know what I gave this. I might have given it 3 stars too. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. The synopsis is these girls are at this boarding school. Was it a boarding school? I don't know. They're all in the school academy. There were like these murders at this school, and they realize that all the murders are like spin-offs to Grimm's fairy tales. Does that make sense? Those like old school fairy tales.
Like when they get lost in the woods.
Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel. I think that's very Grimm's.
Yeah, and it's like very morbid and dark. So I was like, cool. That's a cool concept, right? And it's like dark academia. But it was just so anticlimactic. The reveal was dumb. The motive was dumb. What wasn't dumb though was the diversity and representation in the characters. The uniqueness of each character's personality, which I appreciated because there were so many of the same demographic of character, but the author did a good job of like making them distinguishable. And that's the only reason why I would read the sequel, because I like liked the characters and all their little, you know, quirks and interests. There were various races and genders and body types and things like that. So those are my thoughts on that. I read this in 24 hours for Sapphic-a-thon. It does have Sapphic rep, but it has a lot of rep in it. So that was good, but the plot and the execution of the highly praised storyline, yeah, not it. The next one I already got rid of as well. It's Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I'm so fucking sad about this because y'all know how much I love Addie LaRue, but I wasn't like going into this one expecting the same type of writing because I know V.E. Schwab purposely writes their books for like different audiences. They know that like not all of their books are going to be for everyone, and yeah, this one was not for me. This one's YA. I thought it read more like a middle grade. I did appreciate the beautiful illustrations throughout the book, but I don't know, I haven't even read The Secret Garden, but people said it's like The Secret Garden but like eerier. It's about this girl whose mother died and then she left her like, was it journals or letters or something, and then she's like, don't go to Gallant, but of course this bitch goes to Gallant, right? And then was there paranormal shit? I don't even know, but I was just not feeling it. I didn't care about this girl's feelings. I didn't feel connected to her, that's all. And it was pretty atmospheric at times, but it was also very surface level. It was just so sad because I paid full price for that book. That's the main reason I'm sad, to be honest. I'm still obviously giving their other books a chance, but yeah, that was depressing. The next one is even more depressing because this was my number one of 2022. Okay, I literally have like the arc before the arc type of thing, thanks to my friend Isabella. Book of Night by Holly Black. This book came to my life at the worst time too. I think I gave this 2 stars. Part of me not liking this book and having such negative associations is because I read it at like the most like turbulent time of my life. Like y'all don't even know, okay? A lot of the scenes and like lines and quotes in this book paralleled my life at that time, and it was fucking scary actually. I was so excited because this was my first Holly Black and this is her debut adult book. I read The Cruel Prince, the Folk of the Air trilogy. I read it, don't worry, I read it after this though. This was described as like shadow magic and like people who can control shadows and everything. The beginning was all right. The beginning was pretty fascinating with like the world building and the magic system and everything. There was this one part where there was like an analogy for weed, and it was like this power that they had, and it like clearly very resembled weed, right? And I thought that was clever. Okay, the characters were super flat. There's a relationship in here somewhere, and I was like, why is this a thing? Is this necessary? And the world building was good. Holly Black does a great job with all that, but the other parts of this fantasy story, I feel like it's been a pretty universal opinion about how this just wasn't what they thought it would be. I feel like everyone I've talked to who's read this book gave it like 3 stars. Like it was mediocre at best. I think there's supposed to be a sequel. I wanted more. I wanted more like darkness, and I don't even know what I wanted, but I didn't get it. Okay, what's next? This was another book club pick. I believe this was July, and my guest host was Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction. Gothicana by Runix. This was so bad. The writing was awful. There were so many typos that didn't need to be there. I get it, it's indie published, it happens, but like Ashley pointed out, there's this one page with 5 words on it and they misspelled the word black. And I was like, okay. I think the love interest had like purple eyes or some shit. Again, this author really wanted you to know and remember that this person had purple fucking eyes. And it was just so cringy. I don't even know, what was I tabbing? I don't even know. And it sucks because I associate this with Joey and I's first road trip together. And it fucking sucked. It fucking sucked. It was so bad that it was entertaining. And the sex scenes were just so bad. I don't know how else to explain it. I'll link that vlog down below as well, and that live show, because Ashley and I had a fun time shitting on this book. I wanted to make it a book club pick because first of all, this cover, hello, there's fucking moon phases on it. There's a sequel, not gonna read it. I highly regret making this a book club pick. And I'm sorry for all of you who participated that month. 5 more, let's go. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Fuck this fucking fuck. Okay, this wasn't a bad book. I think I gave it 3 stars. Kind of generous, but it was Riley Sager. I just have such a soft spot for Riley Sager, especially after Home Before Dark. I'll link my Riley Sager ranking vlog down below because I've read all his books at this point. Really excited for his new book next year though. That sounds good. I hope he doesn't disappoint. I think my problem with this one, and I said this in the vlog, I read this for Sun's Out, Books Out, Readathon. I'll link that vlog down below too, but this one was like a mix of so many other thrillers that I've read, and then he was just really trying hard to do something different, but it didn't work out because I read something just like this.
Didn't you guess 3 of the twists?
I guessed like 3 of the twists. The main twist I didn't guess, but it was the twist that was the same in another book that I read. And it heavily relied on this woman being an alcoholic, and it was just not Riley Sager. Like, who wrote this? Ugh. I just really hope his next one redeems himself, because I literally read this the day it came out. I got it from the library. I don't know how it was available. So this girl, her husband died, and she went back to the place that like they would always hang out, or like I think where he died. No, yeah, she went back to the place he died, like in this lake, right? Why would you do that to yourself when you're trying to heal? I don't know. That decision in and of itself, like obviously things are gonna go wrong, right? And sure enough, things fucking did. And she's by herself at this place with these creepy neighbors, and she drinks all the time, and then she goes out in the water and all the shit goes down, and it was just not the shit that I asked for. Next is Tokyo Dreaming by Emiko Jean. Oh, I was so sad. This is one of my most highly anticipated books of 2022. This is a sequel to Tokyo Ever After, which I loved. Pretty sure that made it onto my top 10 of 2021. That was my first ever buddy read with Jessie from Bow Ties and Books. So that book has a special place in my heart. It's like Princess Diaries, but make it Japanese. The first one was so good, so cute. My heart was melting for this fucking bodyguard, right? And then this one barely had my favorite character in it. The romance that it was trying to do was just so cringy, so disappointing. It left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like it whatsoever. I gave this one 2 stars. I read it on my Kindle. I think I got an ARC for it. I think that was thanks to Isabella again too, but I was so excited for it. And then it was just like her going through exams and shit, and then I can't even spoil it, but basically I think you get the gist if you've read the first one and you had a favorite character in that one. Don't expect that character to be in the second book besides like 5 pages. Oh, and then the ending was like this most basic grand gesture bullshit. Moving on. The next one is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Lord, I got this as an ARC as well. I think this was one of the first books I read on my Kindle. Emily Henry, I loved all her other books. Beach Read, phenomenal. People We Meet on Vacation, surprisingly really funny. And then this one I was so excited for. It's like Hate to Love, bookish, small town, but all it gave me was sisters calling each other sissy at like 30+ years old. Huh? Like, no offense if you call your sister sissy. Sure, whatever. It was just so cringy and repetitive throughout this whole story. And I don't have a sister, so like, though I don't like books about sisters. Like, I can't relate to it. I don't care. It doesn't do anything for me. And the romance also didn't do anything for me. The ending was pretty cute. It almost made me cry, actually. I think I gave this 3 stars, maybe 2. I don't know. But the ending, okay, she showed some character growth, whatever. But Hate to Love? What? How are you gonna tell me it's Hate to Love when that was what you gave me? I'm sorry if you like this book. I know this is a very beloved book throughout BookTube. I don't know, if you have never read Emily Henry before, start with Beach Read, not this one. All I'm gonna say. Okay, the next one, Joey's favorite book.
Yep.
Brother by Anya Albarn.
Hey, you.
Did I give that 1 or 2? I want to say I gave it 2. Let me check, because this is important, crucial information. I gave it 2 stars. Let me read my Goodreads review, because she could probably say it better than anything I ever could. Trigger warnings: R word, homophobic F word, rape and animal abuse. Boring 97% of the time. I guessed a big twist. The motives were stupid. So disappointed because this was so hyped for me. I felt nothing for these characters. The writing is cheesy. I'm over it. Fuming right now. So I said trigger warning for animal abuse, right? And I'm usually like, I steer away from books that I know have animal abuse in it, but not gonna lie, that was the most entertaining part of this fucking book. Okay, the reason this was so disappointing for me, I think, is because it was pitched to me as slasher with a serial killer family who are also cannibals, and that is not what I got. I buddy read this with Jessie and they also hated it. I didn't realize how loudly I was talking. My ears just unplugged. So. I'm also losing steam because I've exuded a lot of energy in the past hour. The ending was stupid. The twist was dumb. I guessed it. I don't know how I guessed it, but I guessed it. The characters, I don't know. I just just don't want to think about it anymore. I gave my copy to Joey. I was so excited for it. Like, they were barely cannibals. Let's be real.
There really wasn't much cannibalistic shit going on. It was more just like how fucked up each one of them are.
See, I don't even remember what's a spoiler and what's not, so that's the issue with me trying to describe this book. I remember a couple brutal scenes based on Joey's defense, because that's the only reason I remembered it. I don't actually remember it with my own brain, but the whole family was fucked up, but it was like boring to me. It was also after I read A Certain Hunger, so I wanted like actual cannibalism and like intense like descriptions and like grotesque, you know? And the ending was so dumb.
Next.
Last and definitely least, I will link this dedicated reading vlog down below. It's spoiler free. I have an arc for it thanks to Isabella. Once again, Miss Carrie fucking Soto is back, but Taylor Jenkins Reid is not. Because who wrote this? This is not TJR. Oh my god. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought this was her debut. It was that fucking terrible. Even if you like tennis, even if you played tennis for years, I feel like this isn't even like a book worth recommending. Because I've had people reply to my stories ranting about this book. They've also agreed. They're like, I play tennis for years and this book sucks. And I was like, thank you. I always say that this book was basically like, haha, she served the ball. She's losing the game. Now she's winning. She took her shoes off. Oh, she put them back on. Now she's back on the court. She hit the ball. The other person hit it back. Some people argue that this is about female greatness and like determination, you know, it's all about tennis and like redeeming yourself and blah, blah, blah. Carrie's a piece of shit, okay? I guessed one of the twists unintentionally, not the twist, one of the tragic things that happens in this book unintentionally because I was wishing harm on Carrie Soto and that this thing actually happened. I think I gave this 2 stars because there were some parts about relationships, I think. I'm trying to flip through my tabs real quick. There were some lines that, you know, hit a little bit, but you know, other than that, each chapter was just a tennis match. There was no depth, there was no substance. The thing about this one is I heard about this book, I saw this cover, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this. So I already knew, so technically it's not disappointing, but I'm not making a separate video for worst books of 2022. So this is number 1, and I'm so sad about it because this is my favorite author. So I recommend her backlist before this one and before Malibu Rising. Everything before Malibu Rising, check her out. I think I've heard maybe 1 positive review of this book. I don't even remember what they said about it. I suddenly have the burning desire to eject myself from the plane. Me too, after reading this book. Anyway, that's all. Those are all 22 books that I have strong negative opinions about. If you also hate these books, let me know in the comments down below and we can rant about it together. If you love these books, again, I'm so sorry. If you're interested in these books, again, my Pango's link down below. If you made it to the end of this video, put the sad face emoji in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe, stay positive, and stay festive always, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye!